First Eps Podcast is back. We traveled through time on a very important mission to bring you this episode. My name is Eric.
I am Time Bandit.
And this is First Eps. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of First Eps. We're trying to, it's been a while since we've done this.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out exactly the whole rigmarole, the rhythm. Yeah. It's been a while. So we went on vacation.
Yep.
You got sick. You're coming back. You can hear this.
I'm bouncing back, baby.
Listen to that voice.
Yeah,
Sing us something. Sing us something. Ooh, yeah. Crash test dummies. Perfect choice. Yeah. So it's been a long time, and there's been not much great television coming out, and there's actually a pretty big lull coming up.
Yeah.
And also
not a laugh out loud.
More vacations, not a lull.
Yeah.
A lull.
Yeah.
And also more vacations. So who knows when you're going to see us again? So soak it in right now.
Right.
Soak it all in.
Right. I mean, I'm loving this new Unshackled Us, right?
Yeah, we're Unshackled. That's the new name of the podcast.
Yeah.
First Eps, Unshackled.
Yeah.
And it's more of like an R-rated version.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Like, we're nude from the waist down in this version. So if you want to go to our Patreon.
That's the third tier.
The third tier.
Yep, $1.99 extra. You can see the
lower half of the screen.
Yeah, there's a camera beneath the table as well.
Yeah. We were really inspired by the Olympics. You know, this is, as we were talking earlier, right? This whole summer, it's been a brat girl summer, but also a crotch boy summer.
Crotch boy summer.
And so we're really been inspired by both those things. So we're combining it in this podcast by just being crotchless.
Yeah, what is brat girl summer?
I don't know, but I heard them somewhere.
Yeah, I don't know. Crotch boy summer. Yeah. That's because that guy. One of the reasons.
Yeah.
The pole vaulter knocked the pole vault.
But then there was also
his dick.
There was a Dutch guy with a nice package or something too in the Olympics that we were just talking about. I don't remember the specifics of that one either. But yeah. So we've got a lot of Olympics, a lot of
brat girls.
Exactly. And brat girls, I think that's more in my mind, the pop singers. It's the summer of pop. It was Love and Life now again.
And a lot more Apple TV Plus shows. Like the one we watched.
Yeah, which was
Time Bandits.
Okay, yeah.
I was very excited to check out this show, which is why we got the band back together. We're like, listen, you got to fight through this illness. We got to talk about this show.
And I'm like, I've got this. So had you known about that? You were, okay, because I don't remember watching this trailer or anything.
Well, I knew about this show coming out. So it's based on a movie from 1981.
Okay.
A Terry Gilliam movie. And I had never seen that. I always wanted to see it. It was like it was like right when we were born. So it's not like you can't go back and watch stuff.
No.
That doesn't even make sense.
You can't watch it. What do you only watch? VHS tape? Yeah. What is this?
So it was always something that I wanted to watch.
Right.
I know of it.
Right.
And then when this came along with this cast, and I was like, okay, this looks fun.
That makes sense now. I didn't realize it was part of it. It had like an 80s vibe to it, or an 80s actual lineage to it.
So we'll talk about that later, because there's like a whole thing about the recasting and everything of it too. So, but yeah, I was very excited to check this out. I told you about it. I was like, let's watch this show. And you're like, no. And then I was like, and I showed the contract that you signed that said you have to listen to anything I tell you. And here we are.
I went with it. I decided that, you know what? That contract and my word is more important than my dignity.
Exactly. So yeah, we watched the first episode of Time Bandits. There are more than that. I think there might be like 4 or 5 available right now to watch.
Wow. Okay.
But we just watched the first one, because what we do here at First Eps, we watch the first show.
First one.
And we talk about the first episode.
And I asked you, did you watch the second one? You said no.
It's not allowed.
We haven't discussed it. But also in the contract clause.
Yeah, first episode only.
Right.
So we're going to talk all about the first episode. So there will be spoilers for the first episode. If you have any desire to go check this out, go watch it, come back. If not, skip forward like 10 minutes and
then we'll get to the good stuff.
The goods. All right, shall we? You want to get into it?
I think I'm ready.
All right. So I told you that I rewatched it again today, so it's all fresh in my mind.
Because we watched it originally like a little over, I guess under a week ago, but still.
We watched it. I don't know. It was a while ago, because then you got sick, and then we kept having to reschedule and reschedule.
Oh, yeah.
So not putting any blame. Not what that's all about. It was just like we just had to just keep moving it back. Yeah.
Right.
So all right. So it kicks off
right
off the bat. I was like, I'm in because it starts off right away with the intro, and it's like this weird like 80s kind of kaleidoscope thing with like string.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay,
yeah, it was cool.
This is happening. I'm in right away. And then we see this little kid. Right. And he is very excited. It's his birthday. So he wakes up and he goes and he's British.
Right.
And he goes, Mom, Dad, it's my birthday.
All the cutest kids are British. Yeah.
And we find out he's just like a mega, like the nerdiest nerd out of all nerds.
And Mom and Dad are not like mega nerds.
They're not nerds. They're cool like us.
Right.
Like real hip, real cool.
Right. And they want their kid to be cool too.
Exactly.
Right.
But for his birthday, he wants to go to Woodhenge, which is like Stonehenge but shittier.
Because he wanted to save Stonehenge for the next year because it would be more exciting.
Exactly.
Yeah. This is the prototype.
You do have a photographic memory.
I do. Well, when it comes to historical monuments.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was like, that would be an awesome birthday trip.
So then they go to paint the picture more about him being a nerd. It's all these scenes with him like playing, football and getting picked last and painting miniatures and making horse noises and all this stuff, talking to himself. He's just like, we're seeing that he's just, he's
just
a
like
loner.
Me when I was that kid.
I know. Like I kept thinking that he's very much like my son now. And I'm just like, I mean, he's cool, but like,
Well, you're much more supportive of your son than those parents were.
Absolutely. And when I watched it the second time around, I was thinking, I was like, yeah, I mean, they're like, because the first time I was thinking, I'm like, they're kind of shitty parents. But they're like they're just not like down to his level.
Yeah.
They're doing their own
That's
thing.
true. They're not indulging him. Well, they're not mean.
Exactly.
They're just kind of like, no.
Yeah, they're not like the Harry Potters, like, over those
they like show underneath the bed or whatever. Yeah.
They're not that bad.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Because those are the kind of parents that are in England, right? It's just
exactly. That's the only thing
I think
all
just
of.
Harry Potter
parents. Yes. So next thing we know, his wardrobe starts moving and there's all these lights.
Oh, by the way, it's not his parents, remember. Those are his, like, uncle or something.
Who,
right?
Harry Potter?
Died. His parents were very loving.
Whose parents?
Harry Potter's parents were loving.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure.
Not his parents. I can't remember their
last name. We can't talk about Harry Potter anymore.
The Dursleys.
She's a terrible person.
Oh, yeah.
Why are we talking about? Let's cancel that. It's canceled. Cross that out.
So by association, like, is Daniel Radcliffe? Can we like him?
He's cute.
Okay.
None of those people they're all victims of that too.
I know. It's a bummer. Yeah. All right. So his wardrobe lights up. He opens it up and goes into like Narnia. No, not Narnia because there's like arrows being shot at him.
Yeah, like I don't know what it was though. Like the British Isles when they were invaded by the Vikings or something.
Yeah, something like that. So this kid, he was all excited, and all of a sudden he starts running back away, and it was like doing a real like Macaulay Culkin vibes here with the yell.
I can see that.
Home Alone style. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then he goes back in, and there's a Viking that went through the door.
Yep.
Into his room. So
it's not a one-way wardrobe. It is a two-way wardrobe.
It's a two-way wardrobe.
Mm-hmm.
So there's this Viking. He's like, I gotta go tell my mom. And so he goes and tells them. And he's like, Mom, there's a man in my room. And she was like, there's a man in your room. And she gets up. And then he's like, yeah, it's a Viking. And she's like, oh, it's just your imagination. Or you're just dreaming, whatever. So he's excited. He wants to follow this Viking. The whole wall is gone now. And it's just this beautiful, like, this river area.
Forested river, yeah.
And he's like, all right, Mom, I'm out of here. And he like goes to run through and he smashes into the wall.
Right.
Giving himself a concussion or something, passing out. And then waking up to his parents like above him being like,
oh, right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
So later on then, I'm assuming it's the same night he goes back to bed. And then this group of people walk into his room, and we just hear voices as he's sleeping. Everything's dark. We hear these voices. And so he grabs his light, his torch, as they would say in jolly old England, and he starts shining it on the people. And they're all terrified when they see the light.
Right.
It was hilarious.
Yeah.
The one girl, what's her name? Charlene Yee or whatever. She like hisses.
Yeah, like she like a feral cat caught in the light.
It was fantastic. It was very funny. And then we see Lisa Kudrow, the belle of the ball, the leader of this group.
Oof, amazing.
And she explains to him that like it's like his room is like a time egress, and it's like a very dangerous place to live, and he shouldn't be there.
Right. What are you doing here?
Yeah. he's like, it's my bedroom.
She's like, well, don't question us. You're in this terrible place, not us. Yeah.
And next thing we know, the supreme being is trying to like burst into the room, and it's this giant glowing head with like 3 faces.
So I loved it. It had very much like Doctor Who vibes to it, where you're like, I guess they're terrified of him. I think it's kind of hilarious watching this guy, but he seems kind of powerful.
Yes.
Loved it all.
He's a supreme being. Of course he's powerful.
100%. Yeah.
So one of the guys in the group, this giant guy, pushes the whole wall down in his room, and they escape that way. So they I thought that was really cool because they push it down and it goes and it knocks everything down. Right. It looks super cool.
And they went diving down.
And they went through it.
Yeah.
And they're going down this slide, and they come out.
Very Goonies vibe at this point.
Yes, yes. They come out on a boat, and this is where like we start to meet the members of this group here,
right?
And immediately Lisa Kudrow, her character Penelope, is like, I fall in love with her. Mm-hmm. She's hilarious because she's like, let me check this situation. She's like, we're on a wobbly room with no walls. And I was just like, oh, this is great because she's like kind of like dumb, but like the leader. It was great. And then the other girl who was hissing at the camera earlier was just like, I'm an empath. I know what you're feeling. At one point, like, she's like, I'm an empath. You're sad. He's like, no, this is to the little kid. He's like, this is the happiest day of my life. She's like, I'm new at this.
That was great.
Like, oh, so good. Bad news about her. I was reading as I was doing research on the show.
Yeah.
She complained that she was being like harassed during the filming, and Apple did like a investigation of it and ended up like someone else got in trouble, but also she got written off the show.
Really?
Yeah. So I read that there's some episodes where like she's not even there and they don't like explain it at all. And then like it's like a really shitty explanation for why she's not there. So I'm interested to see how that goes, but they say it's a real bummer because again, she was already in the first episode. She was a great character.
Yeah, I was intrigued to see what happens with her. Yeah.
So
maybe they'll bring her back eventually, kind of like a Star Trek Next Generation, how Gates McFadden and Beverly Crusher got pregnant, and then they brought in someone else to try to like replace her who was totally different, and everybody hated that person. So they were not going to bring back Gates McFadden, but then they decided to bring her back the 3rd season again.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't imagine it without her.
No, I know. Neither can anyone else now. But yep.
Okay, so then they start talking about the Time Bandits, and they have this map, and they're going to steal a horse, which is their big plan, and they talk about it's a time map and all this stuff. The writing in this was after even watching it a second time, it was so well done. There's a joke every like 10 seconds that like you either pick up or you like it's fantastic. But they like there's a battle going on.
Yeah.
And pretty soon they come to meet like Madam.
Yep.
Madam, I don't know. She's like a famous pirate.
Yeah. A woman pirate from China.
Yeah.
Right?
So the little kid knows about the history about this.
Which is really cool.
Because he's like a super history nerd.
Yeah. And this is cool. I'm like, oh, this is where it all comes in to be like so useful because they kind of dropped off in these scenes.
Exactly.
That the hapless human or
the
adults,
Time Bandits.
Time Bandits have no idea what's going on. He's
clue.
like, oh, wait a minute, this is that epic fight between blah 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 blah, and he can add the perspective.
Right, so he saves them basically.
But of course, they kind of dismiss it all. Like, will you stop talking? Let's figure this out.
Exactly. Lisa Kudrow regularly just dismisses him, and every time she does it, it's hilarious because she never says his name right. She's always like Kenan, Kevin.
I love when shows do that when they change people's names.
It's hilarious.
It makes me I love it.
So he all of a sudden they start speaking like Chinese, and I'm like, shit, is something wrong? Like I thought I broke something, but no, they put out a little translator cap on him, and all of a sudden he knows all these different languages. I always like when they explain that part.
Yeah, right. Yep.
So he helps the pirates out, tells them what she needs to do, and then they jump to a new place, and that place is Stonehenge. And they go and they have he learns about Stonehenge. It's all he wants to do. But I thought this was funny. The whole scene with Stonehenge, and I think it was very much. Have you ever watched what's it called? Monty Python.
Yeah.
So Terry Gilliam, the guy who wrote some of these episodes, he wrote the original movie. He did a lot with Monty Python.
Okay.
And this whole scene at Stonehenge was like so much. It was just like regular talking about, there was a gift shop of little Stonehenges.
Yeah.
It was so very much like watching an episode of Monty Python. I thought it was really cool. But anyways, so now they're sitting around the fire. They're talking about, we're getting their origin stories now.
Mm-hmm.
So we're learning more about who each character is. This is a guy who lifts more than 7 average strength men.
Yep.
Another guy who like handles the map and he does like the that sort of thing. Another guy who's like a man of disguises or whatever.
Right. He puts like a mustache on or something.
And then the empath, and then Lisa Kudrow as their leader.
Mm-hmm.
So next up, we get to see the other side of it, and we see the Lord of the Underworld.
Right. That's right. Yes.
And it's Jermaine. From Flight of the Conchords, What We Do in the Shadows, and it's sitting on this throne with this with great makeup on, giant head thing, really really cool outfit. And this was where I get a lot of like Taika Waititi's writing, because now he's like, there's a part where he's surrounded by like demons, and so he's like, Damon, and then like the demon's like, yes, he's like, no, not you, demon, Damon. So there's like this guy named Damon. Yes. And so he's talking, and the demon keeps interrupting when he says Damon because he thinks he's calling him. It's just so silly and so funny. But he talks about how he wants this map and he wants to take over the world, and like his thing was like he wants to make everything bad.
Yeah,
it's like everything could be up. You walk to point A and it's up, and then you want to go back this way and it's up again, and then he wants to make water be acid, and you have eyes on your butt, so you could either walk around naked and see, or wear clothes and be blind. What would you do in that situation?
Well, I mean, I was saying, can we just wear like thongs or something?
Whoa, you just solved it,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, that way you're a little more modest.
Your
but
cheeks
you're
are
still,
out,
right?
Packages away,
right?
Eyes can see.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like it. See? I think you just solved the whole thing.
Thank you.
This guy, you saved the world. So
thank you.
After all this, we go back to the Time Bandits, and they're talking about stealing a horse this whole time. And come to find out now that it's the Trojan horse,
right?
Of Troy.
Yep.
So it was really funny. It's like, you can't steal that. It's too big. And Lisa Kudrow's like, I'll be the judge of that. And then they walk up and just like, yeah, we can't steal this. It's too big. And they're like, oh, it looked smaller on paper. Oh man, it was just the banter in this. Because then they're like, they should be forced to draw everything in true to size or whatever. And then the guy's like, well, we could take it apart piece by piece and put letters on it and then reassemble it. Just like everything when they were talking about was so funny. And then they were
like, he's like, well, we got to steal something. And then they go like around, like everybody break up and start stealing.
Yeah, scatter. I think she was like that. Yeah. And then they all come back with
I think pottery.
Yeah, vases. Each person got a vase. Because that's their thing. They got to steal. They're bandits. But they need to get into Troy or wherever they are. And so they're like, okay, let's go in the horse.
Right, since we know it's supposedly there's people in there. Yeah.
And this was my favorite part of the whole show, inside the horse. I laughed a ton in the first watching and the second watching, where they're just talking about how like amazing this idea is, and the horse, and they're inside, like everybody inside is like real silly, and they're like dancing because they're like, we're gonna get in. And then the two guards on the outside are like, this is such a beautiful thing, and they're like, it's real suspicious, huh? And it's like very suspicious. And he's like, let's burn it. So then they start to burn it. And, some lord comes along and tells him to stop.
What are you doing? This is beautiful.
Yeah.
I want it.
Yeah. So the whole time they're like freaking out inside because they literally, it's on fire at one point. So then they start putting the fire out. It was such a great scene. And then, we meet a seer named Cassandra, and she basically tells the little kid Kevin that you're gonna do big things. You're gonna see see crazy things, you're gonna do lots of things, and you're gonna like help to save the world or whatever. And he's like, I don't believe you or whatever.
Yeah, Cassandra's curse was that she could see the future, but nobody could believe her.
Yeah.
And so he's like, I don't believe a thing you're saying to me.
Exactly. So that's basically, well, no, and then it ends. We go back to the ruler of the underworld, Jermaine, and he has this the huntress, he calls, and tells her that she needs to go to present day this kid's house, because this is where they're going to meet up, and steal the map.
Okay.
And that's how the show ends. They're the first episode. So
the huntress is on their tail.
Yeah, so it has a ton going for it. Lots of adventure, lots of excitement. And it was like very much a throwback to those movies of that time. And I thought it was very cool.
Yeah,
But yeah, we'll give our review.
So pause it for a second.
We're going to pause that chat.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about just stuff kind of like from that era.
Okay.
We never like... it was kind of before our time, but this was the era, 1980s, early 80s, where it was all like these fantasy movies. And like, so it was like Legend. Do you ever see Legend? Conan the Barbarian?
Sure, yeah. I don't think I've actually seen it, but I know obviously the, like, isn't that him with like the sword or something?
Yeah. A lot of like sword and fantasy stuff back then. Excalibur was another one. Highlander.
The original.
That was in 1986.
86.
Yeah.
Highlander.
Krull was like another like fantasy one.
Really? Wait, Krull.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm going to show you the movie cover of that one. Willow. You've probably seen Willow.
Yeah, yep.
That was like, one of the...
That was a little later
ones,
then, right? Was that mid or late 80s?
That was 88. Yes, that was later. That's why we saw
that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Krull. Crazy, right? This is what all the movie things looked like then.
That's
Lady
awesome.
Hawk.
I want to watch that.
Did you see Lady Hawk?
No. I mean, it's in it. Like, I haven't seen it back then, but like Flash Gordon has that similar vibe to it. I guess it's probably a little earlier.
Yeah,
but still,
Flash Gordon, Dragon Slayer. So like, everything.
These are amazing.
Yeah. And then you're right. So then there's like the Flash Gordon's more like the sci-fi kind of angle.
Okay.
The Last Starfighter, Tron. All of those came out in the 80s.
Okay.
And it was like, it's just like these really like kind of like, I mean, you look back at them now and they're all kind of like shitty quality, poorly made, like bad effects and that sort of thing. But like there was this huge like want and desire for all these like fantasy things.
I love it.
It was crazy.
So campy.
Yeah, totally. And now I love that this is back as this show. Very different vibe. But so one thing, when I was looking at IMDb, I saw that the review was a 5.9 on IMDb, and I was like, man, that's really low. Yeah. So then I started looking, and it's been review bombed by people that A, were fans of the original movie, and B, so in the original movie, all the group of Time Bandits, they were all little people.
Oh, interesting.
So people are upset that they changed that to be regular sized people.
Okay. So they were all like the Willow character, whoever his name is.
Right. Yeah. So there was, which like I see both ways.
Yeah.
Like,
like it's like objectifying them to like typecast them into like only that role, or was that visual, giving some representation?
Yes. Yeah. And you could absolutely look at it both ways. And it's, I guess it's ultimately it's up to the actors, but like, and so I read that in the movie, it helped like the kid because they were like the same size as him. Maybe he had a size thing or whatever.
Okay.
But with this one, like the acting choices that they picked to play the bandits, I thought amazing.
Yeah.
I thought Lisa Kudrow
she's so fun to watch.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Which actually leads me to my next question.
Yeah.
This is a segment I like to call Best Friends. I want to know, is this the best Lisa Kudrow that we've seen?
I can't make that determination yet.
Yeah, based on the one. So I've done some research here, and we're going to determine what roles were the best for the Friends. Starting with Lisa Kudrow.
Okay.
So she was in Romy and Michelle's high school
classic.
The Opposite of Sex. That was, I love that. The Comeback. which we are both huge fans of.
Yep.
And Web Therapy. Those were her biggest roles outside
that was funny. Yeah.
of Friends. Now, she was nominated for Best Actress for The Comeback.
Okay. Yeah.
For an Emmy.
That was
and for Friends. She was nominated for both of those. She actually won an Emmy for Friends.
Right. That doesn't surprise me.
So,
but I mean, I think she was much better in The Comeback, but it was too indie.
So you think The Comeback was her better role than Phoebe Buffay?
I mean, I think the iconic one is Phoebe Buffay, but I think for me, like, I absolutely thought that, especially that second season, The Comeback, I think you really saw how much she can do.
Yeah, acting-wise. I thought she was amazing in The Comeback. Way better than she was. And Phoebe was a great character.
Yeah.
But as far as, like, seeing Lisa Kudrow doing amazing in The Comeback.
Because, I mean, she's pretty much a reprehensible character, but you somehow still really vibe with her.
Yeah, because she's just kind of, I don't know, dumb and ditzy.
Yeah,
like, but not
lovable.
Like,
but also, I don't know,
super like selfish, narcissistic.
But still, you want to like root for her, which it doesn't really,
because the whole world is against her.
Yeah,
this is her comeback. You know, she's the underdog.
You see how awkward she is, and how she actually just wants to be loved, and it's all coming from that point of view as opposed to
I agree with you. The Comeback is my choice as well. All right, next up, David Schwimmer.
Okay,
he didn't have as much of a breadth of work. He did Band of Brothers. It was like a World War II
I remember the movie, but I didn't see it.
That was
it was a TV show?
Yeah. Oh. Well, there was a movie like Saving Private Ryan. It was the same thing. He was the giraffe, I think, in Madagascar. And most recently, he was in American Crime Story as Robert Kardashian.
Ah, yes.
Now, he was nominated for an Emmy.
For that role?
For the role of Robert Kardashian.
Okay, yeah.
But I don't think any of these really overshadow or outshine his role as
Dr. Ross Geller.
Dr. Ross Geller on Friends. What do you think?
Agreed.
Friends is his lead role. All right, next up, Matthew Perry.
Okay.
Right. Now, early on, when Friends was bumping, Matthew Perry was like the biggest attraction, the biggest hit out of all of them.
Absolutely.
And he was in so many like just terrible movies.
Yeah.
Fools Rush In, The Whole Nine Yards. And then he was in a show, like then he did nothing for a long time. And he was in a show called The Odd Couple. It was a remake of that.
Weird. Okay.
And then he was nominated for an Emmy for guest appearance on The West Wing.
Okay.
Which I didn't watch that.
Yeah.
And then also he was nominated for an Emmy and a Golden Globe for a TNT movie called The Ron Clark Story. Which I was shocked that he was nominated for anything.
Yeah.
On any of these. He was never nominated for Friends.
No, but TNT, huh? All right. Yeah.
But I think regardless of his Emmy nominations,
I think we got to show that thing to Chandler Bing.
Chandler Bing is like, I mean, it's the thing that projected him into stardom.
Yeah.
Playing that character, that sarcastic, kind of douchebag asshole character. R.I.P. Matt Perry.
Yeah.
But I agree. That was Friends was his peak for sure. All right, next up, Courtney Cox.
Arquette.
I don't think she's that anymore. Okay, so she was in Scream.
Of course.
All the Screams.
Yeah.
So that's a big one.
She's a survivor. We like that.
Yeah. And then that's pretty much like she didn't do much. She
was Shining Vale.
Yes. Which I think I canceled. But Cougar Town was a great show.
Giant Glass of Wine. You love that. Busy Phillips, of course.
Busy Phillips,
right?
Classic.
Right. Yeah.
And she got a Golden Globe nomination for her role in Cougar Town.
Okay.
No wins, no Emmy nominations for Monica.
Really?
Yep. I was surprised to see that. She was in a Bruce Springsteen video.
Of course. That was her big claim to fame. Everyone's like, wait, she was that? Oh, that's her?
Dancing in the Dark, baby. So, I guess the question is, Courtney Cox, is it Scream or is it Friends? Because I could see an argument for both. I think in Friends, she was always just kind of there. No one ever like tuned in to see Monica. You know? And if you did, I apologize. That
there were some good Monica moments. For instance, there was the one I remember where they were in like Bermuda or something. Her hair was getting bigger throughout the day.
Oh,
that was a real classic app. Yeah. But overall, I would agree with you. The Monica was probably the most. you know, she was a little neurotic. She was fine. I mean, I liked Monica. I think I'd be friends with Monica, but maybe she's just too normal for me.
So do you think people do the same kind of chat? Are people tuning into Scream for whatever her character's name
Constance,
is?
I don't know.
Constantinople.
Constantinople. That's amazing. No, I actually tuned in for Ista and Bull.
Nabul. Yeah, more like that's Nev Campbell's character.
Yeah. Oh,
so yeah, I think I gotta say Friends.
Yeah, you're Friends. Okay,
Cox
yeah,
as well.
I'm fine with Friends. Yeah, I'm fine with it. Yep. Yeah, I agree.
All right, Matt LeBlanc.
Here we go. And now this is gonna be a tough one for me because I do know him in a different show that I thought it was fun in.
Okay, Joey, you're talking about
Joey. I know Joey in a different show.
Well, the show Joey.
No,
the spin-off that ran for a few years after Friends.
Was it really a few years?
Yeah.
Wow. No,
yeah. But before that, he was in Ed, a movie with a monkey. He was in Lost in Space.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was in Episodes.
That's the one I'm thinking
where
about.
He played himself.
Yep.
He was nominated for both Best Actor for Friends and for Episodes. And he got a Golden Globe win for his portrayal of himself in Episodes. So this is a tough one, dude. Joey Tribbiani or like Episodes where he played himself. And I thought it was a much better show. I mean, you know, different show.
Yeah. It's a much smarter show.
Way smarter. And that's what's funny about it. It's very meta.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot like just the comeback in a way.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good point. Except, you know, Lisa Kudrow is not playing herself.
It's so funny.
She could.
They should have rolled her into it as like Belle Cherish in the comeback. I'm sorry, in episodes, which would have been really funny.
It would have got confusing.
I don't know. I feel like Friends is the one we'd go to with him because I don't think Episodes people know about as much.
Right.
But
it's maybe his better work.
I agree it's his better work.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it shows him also more character. A lot like the comeback. I think you see much more range. I mean, because he's this lovable, doofy character in Friends.
Yeah.
He's kind of like that, but he's also kind of warped and sad in episodes. But
more
also
of a normal guy.
Yeah. You also feel for him too. I didn't really ever feel for Joey Tribbiani. Like,
exactly. We're saying Episodes for me.
All right, let's do it.
Just based on we're saying
Stronger.
This is the best
performances
of the Friends.
Okay, yeah.
That's the best of them.
I think it's a Friends.
All right, and now the hardest one, the one with the most credits, Jennifer Aniston.
The Rachel.
Now,
is there a haircut too included in this?
We'll do that next. Okay. So she was in a ton of movies, more post Friends. Like she was in a few during that early one. She was in Office Space.
Bad Bosses, or when that was after.
Rockstar. She played Mark Wahlberg's girlfriend in that great movie. You've never seen that.
Right. Yeah.
Along Came Polly. And then, Marley and Me, Horrible Bosses, Just Go With It, We're the Millers.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
Mostly just comedies where she's playing, like, the co-star. She really didn't have any, like, starring, major starring vehicles.
Like being the person. Like, like Legally Blonde moment where she's like.
Right. Yeah. It was always just she's like rom-coms or whatever.
Right.
She did have a movie called Cake where she was more of the star. That was a drama. And then most recently, The Morning Show, which is critically acclaimed. It's like an Apple show.
Cool.
And it is.
You enjoy it? You watched it?
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. I've only watched the first season. But I would like to watch more. So she got Emmy nominations for The Morning Show.
Yeah.
And Friends. She won for Friends.
Okay, of course. Right.
She got a Golden Globe nomination for Cake.
Oh.
And for The Morning Show. She won a Golden Globe for Friends.
Okay.
So
I mean, this is a tough one. Now, I always think of her as being like the smart water girl. Any nominations from like her commercial jobs there? No, nothing.
I don't think so.
No.
I'm trying to think of another one. I only know of. She's been in more commercials because I remember. I feel like she has.
Just that big glass bottle. It's always just her walking like I don't know. That's a tough one for me. Rachel has what's her name again?
Jennifer Aniston.
Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah.
Has always just been okay to me. So she never was my favorite on Friends. In fact, she was probably my least favorite on Friends.
That's crazy. That is crazy. Because she was the number one.
That's not true. That's not true. Chandler Bing was my least favorite.
Okay.
She was my second one. Who was your
most favorite?
Between Ross and Phoebe.
Oh, okay.
The ones that I saw myself most in.
Gotcha. And it's funny. I think my favorites were Chandler and Rachel. So,
I love it.
But I have to say, like,
right.
I mean, people, like millions and millions of people sat down in front of the television to watch Rachel,
right,
and Ross, smooching.
Oh,
and I don't think she ever I mean, she's been in tons of stuff, and she's amazing in everything.
Sure,
super funny, very very comedic, talented comedy actor. But I don't think she's ever really smashed it since.
Since she walked down the aisle with her underwear out.
Exactly.
In that one episode, she did so many good moments.
Yeah,
in that show.
since she walked into Central Perk with her wedding dress on, she has
not exactly. Bam.
But yeah, because I mean, the morning show I would say was probably their only real competition that we being her best work. And even then, it's great, but I think with Friends, she was lucky enough to be able to have those, dramatic moments, sad moments, ditzy moments.
She definitely had the most
moments.
With that one.
She was
anybody
all across.
In that show. I mean, Ross had them too, I guess, but he's not as good as she.
But he played them all exactly the same.
Yeah.
Oh,
my baby.
Ben's got the chicken pox. So I'm gonna say for Jennifer Aniston, I'm gonna say Friends,
and she should be proud of that one.
And she should. It's her best work. So 1, 2, 3, 4, or no, 1, 2, 4 out of the 6 of them. I would say Friends was their best work, and then just Lisa Kudrow and Matt LeBlanc.
They rose above.
So that was fun, right?
I love it. Yeah, that was a good one. I wasn't sure we were going to that today.
There's a little side track into Friends quest on the Time Bandits. All right.
Yeah.
Now let's get back to the Bandits. Okay. I want to know what you thought of the show. What is your review out of 10? 1 being the shittiest, 10 being the bestiest.
I liked it a lot. I'm going to give it I'm between a 7.5 and an 8. I really enjoyed it. For me, it was a very easy watch. I looked at my phone very infrequently, which is a good marker of how interested I am.
That's true.
I thought there was funny chemistry between the young child and the grown-ups in it. And I like how the nerdy characters are showing why it's valuable to have knowledge. So I was into it.
Yep.
It's fun.
Sounds like an 8 to me.
Yeah, let's go an 8. Yep.
Let's go an 8.
Well, how about you?
I'm going to give it a 9.
All right.
Bam. Yeah, dude, I thought about it a bunch, and I don't like going that high on a lot of things because to me that's 10 you would say is perfection.
Yeah.
And was this close to perfection? And initially thinking about it after my first watch, I was like, dude, it was so funny. Laugh a minute. All the characters are extremely likable. And it's just it's a PG show. And it's just a fantasy show. It's lighthearted. It's fun. There's comedy for grown-ups. There's comedy for kids. And it's gorgeous to look at.
It's fun to look at.
The characters are silly and cool. And it just has so much going for it. And I'm so excited to see more. I really hope that it continues with this. The writing is amazing. So the first episode was directed by Taika Waititi, and I love his work.
Oh, wait, so it's not always by him. It's going to switch.
Yeah. He wrote him, Jermaine, and Terry Gilliam all wrote 5 episodes. I don't know if they worked together or whatever, but Taika Waititi, I think he directed 2, and then a couple other people directed some. So I don't know if that's if the writing changes and the director changes, they're going to change the the quality. We'll see.
Okay.
But right now, I had so much fun watching it, and I can't wait to watch more. Quick question before we end: what would you time steal? Where would you go in time, and what would you want to steal?
Ooh.
Yeah, this is a tough one. While you're thinking of that,
I'm
going to tell people where to find us. Check us out on YouTube at Pop Culture Playground. It's where you could find this show, a bunch of other stuff there. Hit subscribe, and then you'll have us in your face all the time. In addition to that,
like fun.
Anywhere podcasts are found, you can find this show. Just type in First Eps, bam, you'll have this show will come up. Our smiling faces. You hit subscribe there.
That's how we do it.
Yeah, download all, and you go back, listen to every other one. See, how we blossomed. What were our best moments?
How we blossomed. Oh, I love it.
All right, now tell me.
I have no idea. I don't know.
It's a tough one.
I'm not sure.
I think it would be like, maybe like I would go back and steal like Amazing Fantasy 15. The first appearance of Spider-Man, or like, go back to Jurassic Park. And steal one of the dinosaur eggs, because that was real, right?
So you want to go back to like wait? So you want to go back to a fictional place?
No. Oh wait, that wasn't real. I thought this was something that.
Or do you want to go back to
like a documentary?
Period.
Oh, but that sounds scarier.
And that does sound scary.
I could
if
fight
you get out easy enough.
I could fight the scientists at Jurassic Park. I cannot fight a dinosaur. But that would be cool. We go back to dinosaur times, steal a dinosaur egg, raise it as my own.
Do I have to steal anything, or can I just go back and look at stuff?
You're a time bandit. You have to steal stuff.
Okay, all right.
What about like the 10 Commandments?
I don't want to steal the 10 Commandments. Well, so I'm trying to think. I think so. I would love to see like Saint Teresa of Avila supposedly could levitate when she's in prayer.
Oh, okay.
So I'd love to go back to that time period to try to like sneak into the chapel and see her levitating, and maybe I'll just steal a candle.
Okay. It's boring.
If I have to do that,
it's boring.
But if I see a saint levitating, maybe it's like when they have like mystical powers and viewed into it.
Yeah,
right?
That's a good point.
So maybe that's why I'm doing it. That's the real. But of course, it's just because I want to see that moment.
Okay.
So I'm actually a benevolent thief. I actually go to want to see these things.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's boring. Yeah. And it's not going to make you any money. Like my dinosaur egg or my Spider-Man.
That's the whole point, is for money.
I mean, it's not always about money.
Oh, I thought we were just talking about how
candles.
It's about the thirst for knowledge.
The friends you make along the way.
Exactly. Except for Lisa Kudrow and Matt LeBlanc, who made them afterwards.
Exactly.
Yep. There you go.
We'll see you next time. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
What did we watch again?
All right, and away we go.
What's up, everybody?